Hey, happy Sunday, everybody. Vacation's over. Um, I want to touch base with you about what we're going to be doing this week. And we're going to be doing a few things. You can see I've got pulled up on the screen here a letter that I'm writing for our letter writing unit. I want to try to finish that this week, get them all done. I don't have any stationery yet because I forgot to go to Staples today, but I will go probably tomorrow and get stationery. If you have any of your own, you can bring it in. I'm actually going to type my letter because my handwriting is really not great, but I'm also going to handwrite another one to someone else. So I'll do two, one typed, one handwritten. But I prefer you handwrite, especially if it's, but sometimes, if it's a relative or something, but sometimes it is better, especially with an older person if you type. So either way, I've put on Classroom a couple of pictures of formatting letter formats, how to best do a personal letter. But basically, and I'll share this. So I'm writing actually one to a guy named Bill White, who is a famous baseball player from even before when I was a kid. He was an announcer when I was a kid and a Yankees announcer. So I knew him as that, but he was a fantastic ball player before that. And he's an older gentleman who is a friend of Holly McEwen's. And so I figured, perfect, tell the guy about how I listened to him, broadcast Yankee games as a kid. So, because he's, you're real great here. He was the first black president of the National League, which is a pretty big deal back in the late 80s or so. So Bill White's a really cool guy. And so I'm going to write him a letter and see what happens. Maybe he'll write me back. So we're going to work on letter writing this week, finish it. And we're also going to be looking at the question of, we've been looking at the question of age in terms of older folks. We're going to look at a little bit about younger folks this week, about the question of adulthood, or adulting, as they say these days. Emerging adulthood is another term that's out there. You may have heard all of these, but we're going to look at that question. What does it mean to be an adult, especially now? Why is the age of adulthood seem to be getting sort of push forward? Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Or is it neither, just a thing? And so we're going to look at that question. There's going to be a couple of readings and some questions around that. And we're getting ready to then look at the finishing part of the unit, which will be writing about some of these, taking sort of a perspective or a point of view on one of these questions regarding age. But this week we're going to look at, again, the question of when do young people become adults? How do they do that in terms of our society? And maybe discuss how that really relates to the question we were talking about last week with older folks and how they are, dealt with for better or worse in our society. So it's going to be really interesting stuff. I've got some good readings, and we'll get ready for finishing up the unit. So it's very exciting. Our next piece, we're actually going to read this book here, Brain on Fire, which is really cool. I read it when it first came out. Now I'm about halfway through rereading it, and it's really interesting about a young woman who has this really bizarre autoimmune disease, but it really looks and acts like severe mental illness just kind of comes upon her out of the blue. And she's a very successful person, and suddenly, boom, she has this total breakdown. So it's really interesting. I won't spoil the book for you, but this will be what we're going to read next. And I've got the books. I should have the books ready tomorrow. I'm going to go see Mr. Harder and get the books. But okay, so that's where we are this week. I'll probably post another video midweek, but right now we're working on our letters, and we're looking at reading and discussing the issues around adulting. So, all right, enjoy the rest of your vacation. You've got about 12 or 13 more hours or so. So enjoy it, and I will see you tomorrow or the next day. So, all right, folks, thank you much, and enjoy your evening.